That ticket's fake. Nice try, sweetheart." The words cut through gate B7 like a knife. Sarah Mitchell held up the boarding pass, squinting at it with exaggerated suspicion. Her lips twisted into a smirk as she stared down the elegantly dressed black woman standing before her. Without warning, Sarah grabbed both ends of the first-class ticket and tore it in half. Then again, and again. White pieces fluttered to the floor like snow. There. Problem solved. Dr. Maya Chen stood perfectly still, watching the destruction of her $2,400 ticket. Her cream-colored suit remained spotless despite the chaos. She didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't even raise her voice. She just smiled. And that smile? It should have been Sarah's first warning. But here's the thing about underestimating people. It never ends well. And what happened in the next 12 minutes? It changed everything. Want to know how one torn ticket brought an entire airline to its knees? Keep watching, because this gets wild. Flight 328 to Miami, departure in 42 minutes. The announcement echoed through the terminal as Maya bent down gracefully, collecting every torn piece of her boarding pass. Her hands moved slowly, deliberately. 200 passengers watched in uncomfortable silence. A college kid named Tyler had his phone out, recording everything for his TikTok. "Security to gate B7. We have a situation." Sarah spoke loud enough for everyone to hear, like she was performing for an audience. She gestured dramatically at the scattered paper near Maya's designer heels. "As you can all see, I just stopped someone from boarding with fraudulent documents. You're welcome. Tyler's live stream? Already at 150 viewers? Then 400? Then 700. Yo, this is absolutely insane," Tyler whispered into his phone. "This airline lady just destroyed this woman's ticket and called security. This is not okay." The gate supervisor, Kevin Barnes, arrived with his arms crossed. His badge caught the harsh terminal lights. He positioned himself next to Sarah, creating what they probably thought looked like authority. "Ma'am," Kevin announced in that tone people use when they've already decided you're guilty, "we're going to need 3 forms of ID, your credit card statement, and proof of purchase." Maya reached into her leather handbag. Her movements were calm, controlled. She pulled out a black American Express card, the kind that requires a $7,500 annual fee just to own. "Will this work as proof I can afford my ticket?" Her voice was steady, professional, almost amused. Sarah barely glanced at it. Anyone can buy fake credit cards online these days. The live stream viewers jumped to 1-200. Here's what I do and understand. And maybe you're wondering this too. Why do some people see a well-dressed black woman and immediately think fraud? Stay with me because this gets deeper. Marcus Williams, a businessman in line behind Maya, shifted uncomfortably. He recognized her face from somewhere, maybe a magazine, but stayed silent. His phone was recording discreetly, though. "Do you understand English?" Sarah spoke slower and louder, like volume equals clarity. "We need real identification, not props." 2 airport security officers arrived. They didn't ask questions. They just positioned themselves between Maya and the gate entrance, hands near their radios. "What's the problem here?" Officer Jackson asked. "Attempted fraud," Sarah explained, sounding almost proud. "We caught her with a fake first-class ticket. I had to confiscate it for everyone's safety." Maya's phone buzzed. The caller ID read, "Corporate Urgent." She declined it. The notification bar showed 52 missed calls. But here's where it gets interesting. While Sarah was busy explaining her heroic actions, other passengers moved through boarding without a second glance. A white guy in a wrinkled polo shirt waved through immediately with a smile. A teenager with a basic economy ticket given a cheerful, "Have a nice flight." "This is exactly why we have security protocols," Sarah announced to the growing crowd. "Some people think they can just walk onto planes without proper documentation." Officer Jackson looked at the torn paper on the floor. "Ma'am, do you have your original receipt?" "Your employee destroyed it," Maya replied calmly, pointing at the fragments. It's right there on the floor. She destroyed a fake ticket, Sarah interrupted. There's a huge difference. Tyler's live stream exploded, 4,500 viewers. The comments section was on fire. Please keep recording, Maya said quietly to Tyler. The world needs to see this. Kevin pulled out his radio. We need backup at Gate B7, possible trespassing situation. Maya opened her wallet wider. Inside were multiple platinum cards, VIP lounge passes, and airline status cards. Her frequent flyer card showed Diamond Elite status with over 3 million miles. 3 million miles. Do you know how many flights that is? Ma'am, you're disrupting our operations, Officer Jackson said. We can help you book an economy seat or you'll need to leave. The airport manager, Richard Cross, arrived looking stressed. His tie was crooked. He surveyed the scene. Security officers, torn paper, phones recording everywhere, and one very calm black woman at the center of it all. What's going on? Attempted fraud, Kevin said immediately. We caught her trying to board with a fake first-class ticket. Richard nodded without investigating. Ma'am, you have two choices. Accept rebooking in available seating or leave the airport. If you keep arguing, we'll file trespassing charges. Flight 328. Departure in 36 minutes. The pressure was building. More passengers were recording now. Some whispered to each other. Others looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Maya's phone rang again. This time the caller ID said, CEO Williams, personal line. She glanced at it, declined. And that's when Sarah made her biggest mistake yet. This is what happens when people try to scam the system, Sarah announced to everyone within earshot. They think they can intimidate us with lawyers and complaints. Well, not today. 3 more security officers arrived as backup. The circle around Maya tightened. 8 uniformed personnel now, 3 airline employees, dozens of phones recording, 200 watching passengers. An elderly black man stepped forward from the crowd. Sister, I'm standing with you, he said quietly. 2 other black passengers joined him, but most people stayed seated, creating a visible divide in the waiting area. Tyler's viewer count hit 18,000. Comments flooded in from across the country, people sharing their own stories of being profiled, questioned, and humiliated at airports. Final boarding begins in 25 minutes, the gate announcement declared. Richard started typing an incident report on his tablet. I'm documenting this for corporate and potential law enforcement. Maya remained impossibly calm. She took photos of each employee's name tag and badge number with careful precision. Are you getting all of this? She asked Tyler. Every single second, Tyler confirmed. Then Maya's voice dropped, almost a whisper, but somehow everyone heard it. I think it's time we cleared up this misunderstanding. Flight 328, departure in 25 minutes. The words hung in the air like a challenge. The gate area went silent except for the hum of air conditioning and distant announcements. Even the live stream comments paused. Then everything changed. Richard's radio crackled. Code blue at gate B7. Repeat, code blue. His face went white. He listened to the voice on the other end, then looked at Maya with sudden fear in his eyes. What's code blue? Tyler whispered to his phone. His viewer count had jumped to 25,000. Sarah sensed something shifting, but pushed forward. I don't care who she thinks she is. Rules are rules. She pointed at the torn ticket pieces. That was fraudulent. I protected this airline. Officer Jackson spoke into his radio, his voice uncertain now. Command, can you repeat that information about the passenger? Marcus Williams finally stepped forward. Excuse me, he said to Richard. I think there's been a massive misunderstanding. Richard barely looked at him. Sir, return to your seat. Actually, you need to hear this. Marcus pulled up his phone, showing a Forbes magazine article from 3 months ago. That's Dr. Maya Chen. She's the chief investment officer of Summit Global Holdings. Sarah scoffed. Anyone can fake a magazine cover with Photoshop. But Richard's expression changed. He read the article, then looked at Maya with growing alarm. And then Maya's phone rang one more time. Instead of declining, she answered. On speaker. Yes, I'm aware, she said calmly. No, don't intervene yet. Let this play out naturally. She ended the call and looked directly at Tyler's camera. These are the real experiences that Black professionals face while traveling. This isn't unusual. It's everyday life for us. The live stream comments exploded. People shared similar stories, being questioned, searched, doubted, and humiliated simply for existing while Black. 3 more security officers arrived. 9 total now. A supervisor in a white uniform joined them, speaking quietly into his radio. We may need to evacuate the gate area, the supervisor announced. Evacuate? An elderly passenger protested. We have a flight to catch. The crowd turned angry. Business travelers demanded compensation. Families gathered their belongings. Richard approached Maya again, his confidence replaced by visible nervousness. Ma'am, I've been informed there may have been a misunderstanding. If you could provide additional identification. Additional identification? Maya's eyebrow raised slightly. For what purpose? To verify my status? The word hung there. Status. Not identity, not ticket validity. Status. Tyler's live stream hit 32,000 viewers. News outlets started picking up the story. CNN, NBC, ABC, all monitoring the trending hashtags. Flight 328, departure in 22 minutes. Sarah made one last desperate stand. I don't care if she's royalty. She presented suspicious documentation. I followed protocol and I'd do it again. The crowd reacted immediately, some nodding in agreement, others shaking their heads in disgust. The divide was obvious. Ma'am, we need to resolve this now, Richard said to Maya. The flight departs in 22 minutes. Then perhaps you should have thought about timing before destroying my valid boarding pass. Maya's phone buzzed with a text. She glanced at it and almost smiled. Officer Jackson got another radio call. This one was longer, involving multiple confirmations and spelling out names. His expression changed from routine enforcement to something like panic. Command, can you repeat that about Summit Global Holdings? The words Summit Global Holdings rippled through the crowd like electricity. Several business passengers looked up from their phones with recognition dawning on their faces. Kevin overhead and immediately Googled the company. His face went pale. 18.9 billion in assets under management, he read aloud. Major shareholder in multiple airline companies. Sarah's voice had less conviction now. I don't care if she owns a bank. She had a fake ticket. But the certainty was cracking. And then Maya decided it was time to end this. Mr. Cross, Maya said, her voice carrying new authority. I'd like your full name and employee number for my report. Your report? The report I'll be filing with your corporate office, the Department of Transportation, and the Federal Aviation Administration regarding today's discrimination incident. Richard's hands shook as he provided his information. The word federal had an immediate effect. Tyler's phone was overheating from the continuous live stream, but he refused to stop. 35,000 viewers hung on every word. This represents systemic bias in the travel industry, Maya continued, speaking to the camera now. It affects millions of passengers who look like me. Her phone rang one final time. The caller ID simply read CEO. She answered immediately. Yes, I think it's time. She ended the call and looked directly at Richard, then Sarah, then the 9 security officers surrounding her. I believe there's been a catastrophic misunderstanding. She reached into her handbag and withdrew a leather portfolio. From it, she extracted a business card and handed it to Richard. His hands trembled as he read it aloud. Dr. Maya Chen, Chief Investment Officer, Summit Global Holdings. He paused. There was more text at the bottom. His voice cracked. Board Chair, SkyWest Airlines. The silence was deafening. Even the live stream comments stopped. Sarah stared at the card. Her earlier confidence evaporated. Flight 328. Departure in 18 minutes. But wait, it gets even better. Board chair? Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. Of this airline, Maya confirmed. SkyWest Airlines, the company you work for. Richard's radio exploded with urgent chatter. Corporate headquarters was calling. Something about an emergency board meeting and immediate operational changes. Tyler's live stream reached 42,000 viewers. The comment section was pure chaos. This has to be the plot twist of the century, Tyler whispered into his phone. Officer Jackson got another call, a long one. He listened, his eyes widening with each word. Command is ordering us to stand down immediately, he said to his partner. Stand down? Why? Before he could answer, Maya pulled out a different phone. Not her personal device, a corporate smartphone with security features that looked like something from a spy movie. Authorization code required for operational override, she said into it. A voice responded immediately. Authorization granted, Dr. Chen. Summit ID confirmed. Sarah watched in growing horror as Maya's fingers moved across the screen. What are you doing? Kevin demanded. Implementing emergency protocols. Every computer screen at Gate B7 flickered simultaneously. The boarding pass scanners beeped warnings. Flight information displays went dark for 5 seconds, then showed a message that made Richard's blood run cold. Flight 328, administrative hold, executive override. Sarah frantically pressed keys on her terminal. Nothing worked. My system's locked. Mine too, Kevin confirmed, panic creeping into his voice. Gates B5, B6, B8, and B9 experienced similar failures. Passengers throughout the terminal complained about delays. Flight 328. Departure. Indefinite hold. Maya pocketed her corporate phone and spoke directly to Tyler's camera. For everyone watching, my name is Dr. Maya Chen. I'm the Chief Investment Officer of Summit Global Holdings, which owns a 41% controlling stake in SkyWest Airlines. The silence was absolute. 42,000 live stream viewers, 200 gate passengers. Airport staff across 4 terminals, everyone processing the same impossible reality. Marcus was the first to speak. I tried to tell you, he said, shaking his head. That's the woman who's been on Forbes covers twice this year. Sarah stared at her dead computer screen, then at the torn boarding pass pieces still on the floor. They suddenly looked like evidence at a crime scene. But the ticket looks suspicious, she whispered. No, Maya corrected gently, holding up the fragments she'd collected. I looked suspicious to you. There's a significant difference. Richard's phone rang. The caller ID showed corporate emergency line. His hands shook as he answered. This is Richard Cross at Gate B7. The voice on the other end was loud enough for people nearby to hear. Mr. Cross, this is Amanda Foster, Regional Director. I'm en route to your location now. Do not take any further action regarding Dr. Chen without my direct approval. Richard's face went ashen. Yes, ma'am. But Maya wasn't done. Not even close. Maya pulled out her tablet, showing real-time financial data. Since we're discussing credentials, let me share some numbers. The screen displayed Summit Global Holdings' current portfolio. $18.9 billion in assets under management. SkyWest Airlines represented their largest single investment at $3.4 billion. Our corporate travel program generated $1.2 billion in revenue for SkyWest last year, Maya continued. That's approximately 17% of the airline's total annual profits. Kevin frantically Googled the numbers on his phone. Every single figure checked out perfectly. Tyler's viewer count hit 53,000. Major news networks were now monitoring the situation in real time. Flight 328, departure, executive review. The crowd dynamics shifted dramatically. Passengers who'd been sympathetic to airline staff now kept their distance. The 9 security officers stood awkwardly, uncertain of their role. Sarah made one desperate attempt. I was following company policy. Suspicious documents require verification. I was protecting the airline. Maya turned to face her directly. Ms. Mitchell, in your 6 years of employment, how many first-class tickets have you physically destroyed? Silence. How many white passengers have you asked for 3 forms of ID? More silence. How many boarding passes have you torn up while claiming to protect the airline? Sarah had no answer. The live stream comments flooded with passengers sharing their own experiences. Black travelers subjected to extra screening, seat changes, suspicious treatment. The stories were endless. Richard's radio crackled again. All personnel at Gate B7 remain in position pending executive review. Officer Jackson looked uncomfortable. Ma'am, we weren't aware of your position with the airline. That's precisely the point, Maya replied. You made assumptions based on appearance, not facts. She gestured to the torn ticket pieces. This destroyed boarding pass represents more than one passenger's discrimination. It represents a corporate culture that requires immediate correction. Her corporate phone buzzed. The screen showed CEO Williams, urgent. This time, Maya answered on speaker. David, she said, using the CEO's first name with easy familiarity. Maya, I just got an emergency briefing about O'Hare. Are you all right? I'm fine, David, but we have a significant problem requiring immediate attention. Whatever you need. Legal is standing by. I'm personally reviewing the incident reports. I need Miss Foster at Gate B7 with full authority to implement corrective measures. She's already on her way. Maya, I want you to know this doesn't represent our company values. I understand that, David, but perception is reality. And right now, 53,000 people are watching this conversation live. Actually, Tyler's viewer count was approaching 58,000, but Maya's point was clear. Flight 328, departure, corporate response. Regional Director Amanda Foster arrived practically running. Her professional composure barely concealed obvious panic. She surveyed the scene, disabled computers, scattered ticket fragments, recording devices everywhere, and Dr. Maya Chen standing calmly at the center. Dr. Chen, Amanda said, slightly breathless, I offer my deepest apologies for this incident. Ms. Foster, I appreciate your response time. However, apologies to me aren't sufficient. These 58,000 viewers deserve to understand how this will be addressed. Amanda looked directly at Tyler's camera. On behalf of SkyWest Airlines, I offer our sincere apology to Dr. Chen and our commitment to immediate systemic changes. But Maya had one more card to play. David, are you still on the line? Yes, Maya. Please inform everyone present about the Summit SkyWest Partnership Agreement, specifically Section 9C. There was a pause. Then the CEO's voice came through the speaker, careful and measured. Section 9C allows Summit Global Holdings to terminate our partnership agreement immediately in cases of verified discrimination violations. This would result in the loss of approximately $3.4 billion in annual business. Sarah's knees buckled. The magnitude of what she'd done was finally sinking in. Richard stared at his incident report, realizing he'd been documenting his own career suicide. However, Maya continued, I'm more interested in prevention than punishment. Which brings us to the Chen Protocol. The Chen Protocol? Amanda asked. A comprehensive anti-discrimination program we've been developing for 6 months. Real-time bias reporting, mandatory training, financial accountability, and technological solutions to prevent incidents exactly like today. She looked directly at Sarah. Ms. Mitchell, your actions today will serve as the primary case study for industry-wide changes. Every airline employee in America will learn about what happened at Gate B7. Now, Maya said, gathering the torn ticket pieces, I believe my original request was simple. I'd like to board my flight. Amanda practically sprinted to the gate counter, manually overriding every system to process Maya's boarding. Dr. Chen, Seat 1A is ready. First-class service has been upgraded to our premium executive level. Maya walked toward the jet bridge, then paused. "Ms. Mitchell," Sarah looked up hopefully. "You were right about one thing. There was a problem with my ticket." Sarah's face showed confusion. "It should have been complimentary. Executive suite, not first class, but don't worry, that's been corrected now." As Maya disappeared down the jet bridge, the gate area erupted. Applause, nervous laughter, the frantic sound of keyboards as every employee tried to process what they'd witnessed. Tyler ended his live stream with 61,000 viewers and a simple message: "Justice just walked onto that plane." Gate B7 at O'Hare looked completely different. A permanent diversity and inclusion display occupied the wall where passengers once witnessed discrimination. QR codes for bias reporting gleamed beside every gate agent station. Sarah Mitchell? She worked retail now at a suburban mall. Her airline career was over. The industry background checks flagged her termination for discrimination. The viral video followed her everywhere. Richard Cross relocated to Denver, taking a customer service job at a call center. His LinkedIn carefully omitted his final months at SkyWest, but the internet never forgets. Kevin Barnes returned after intensive bias training and psychological evaluation. But the workplace atmosphere never fully recovered. His colleagues treated him with careful professionalism, nothing more. Discrimination incidents across participating airlines dropped 86% within 90 days. The combination of financial consequences, AI monitoring, and real-time reporting created unprecedented accountability. "We've processed over 15,000 bias reports," Amanda Foster announced during a corporate presentation. Average response time, 11 minutes, resolution rate, 91%. The framed boarding pass fragments in SkyWest's headquarters lobby became a pilgrimage site. The memorial reminded everyone that individual actions create lasting consequences. 15 major airlines adopted the Chen protocol. The FAA made bias training mandatory for all customer-facing personnel. Dr. Maya Chen established a $7 million scholarship fund supporting Black students pursuing aviation careers. Applications poured in from aspiring pilots, engineers, and air traffic controllers. Her keynote speeches at industry conferences drew standing ovations and immediate policy changes. 6 months after Gate B7, Maya reflected on the incident during a Stanford Business School guest lecture. "Power isn't about wealth or titles," she said. "It's about using your influence to create lasting change that protects people who might not have your resources." She held up a replica of her torn boarding pass. "Sometimes the most powerful response to bias isn't anger or confrontation. It's strategic action that ensures the system itself must change." The students gave her a standing ovation. These stories matter because they illuminate systemic problems requiring collective solutions. Have you witnessed discrimination while traveling? Your experience matters. Share your story in the comments below. Subscribe for more real-life stories of quiet power overcoming systemic bias. Hit that notification bell because these narratives need amplification. Remember, you never know who you're really talking to. Treat everyone with dignity and respect, because the person you underestimate today might be the one who changes everything tomorrow. Share this if you believe in the power of strategic action over silent acceptance. Change happens when ordinary people refuse to accept extraordinary injustice. This story wasn't cleaned up or sugar-coated. It was told as it happened. If you felt something, hit like, drop a comment with your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced, because sometimes one torn ticket can change an entire industry.